Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for another live presentation. It's Savannah here, Marketing Director with North Star Senior Advisors. And a little bit of background about North Star. We help seniors and families locate different senior living options in the Central Florida area at no charge, whether it's assisted living, independent living, or memory care. And today I want to talk to you all about the recent announcement from the governor. So last week, September 1st, the governor announced an update that he will be reopening skilled nursing facilities and assisted living communities, which is very exciting, right? Now, he made the announcement last week. It's still a fluid situation, right? So communities are still working on their individual protocols, but today I wanted to share with you what this looks like in terms of the reopening. They're going to be doing, the communities are going to be rolling out their individual protocols and how this is going to be addressed. But I first want to start off with visitation in general, right? So before the announcement was made, family members were not able to visit their loved ones in assisted living. It had to be on the outside, through the glass, sort of that way. But now with this new update, visitation is able to take place, right? There's still some restrictions on how it'll work, which I'm going to go into now. But this is great news that you can now see your loved one on the inside. So it's important to know, though, for general visitation to take place, the community must be COVID-free. The staff and the resident must be COVID-free for 14 days, right? So any community that does have a staff member that tests positive or resident has to cease visitation. So it is important to know that. Also, it's good to know that visitors are not required to be COVID tested upon entry, right? So if the community does require that the visitor be tested based on their individual protocol, they can't pass the cost of that test on to the visitor. So good to know those things. Now, when the visitor does come on site to the assisted living community, they are required to pass that screening process, right? They must have the proper PPE equipment on, the masks. They must pass the temperature check, fill out a form that says, they haven't been in contact that they know of with anyone with COVID. But it's good to know that the community is not required to supply the PPE equipment, but the visitor must have the PPE equipment on to enter the community. Visitor also must be 18 years or older to visit, and visitation now must occur in designated areas. So on the inside, they can come in now, but it must occur at the appointed areas during visitation. And during the visitation, social distance still must take place. So 6 feet apart with the masks on after passing that screening test. Also, I want to mention that visitation must be scheduled for when they visit their loved ones. So what that means is each individual community might have their own protocols on how this is being scheduled, but it must be scheduled whether it's through the phone or online. We've seen a couple different ways that they're doing it now. Like I said, picking up the phone or maybe filling out something online. As far as how long the visits take place, how many people visit in a given day or a week, that's going to be up to the individual community, based on making sure there's enough room for social distancing and things like that. It's going to kind of be up to the community on how they do that. But important and good to know that you have to schedule an appointment to see your loved one. I do want to talk about something called essential caregivers and compassionate caregivers as well. So they are allowed to enter the community and visit with the resident or loved one and physically touch, right? So essential caregivers, they are what they are is they are appointed or designated by the resident and the staff member at the community during the care plan meeting. So they were appointed to be an essential caregiver, and they can come in, and what they can help with is help the resident with any activities of daily living, whether it's bathing, dressing, toileting, things like that, or emotional support as well. So they're designated during the care planning, and they are able to come in and, of course, physically touch the resident and care for them. It's good to know, though, that anyone that is not essential, though, cannot physically touch. So only the essential caregivers can touch the resident, but all non-essential must still participate in social distancing. So with that, with the visitation, with those guidelines in mind, when the governor also mentioned that he reopened the communities, tours are now affected by this as well, right? So when you want to tour the community for your loved one as a potential option, before it was done virtually, there are very few communities that were able to kind of get creative with touring, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But right now, since he reopened it, tours are able to take place again, right? But some things to know about this is that the facility must still meet the same requirements as far as the community must be COVID free for 14 days by resident and staff member, just like visitation. If someone does present a positive case, then tours will be halted as well. It's also important to know that communities can make arrangements now for tours by no more than 2 individuals, as long as the visitors comply with the same requirements for that general visitation, and they must be accompanied by a facility or community staff member. So it's important to know that with these tours that can take place now, they must be accompanied by a staff member. There must be no more than 2 individuals on the tour, and the community itself must be free of COVID, community and staff member for 14 days. So a little bit of restriction still, but great to know that I know a lot of people are excited to be able to tour now and see these communities on the inside. So that's a huge change and a big update for everyone. With the touring right now, what we've been seeing is that some communities are able to bring in residents just because the way it's designed, they were far away from the other residents, or they were brand new and they had a whole section kind of to the side that they could come in and see. A lot of it, of course, was virtual, but they were, again, trying to be as creative as possible. So with this new update, that's exciting that tours can now take place, of course, with some small restrictions I mentioned. And so I want to mention, with all of this going on, it is going to be based on the individual community and how their protocols will be rolled out. When you work with us as senior advisors, we have the information. We work really closely with these communities and their protocols, so we're really up to date and we can provide you that accurate information. We'd be more than happy to do so. So if you are interested in learning more about a community, want to tour a community, or narrow down options, definitely reach out to us. We can provide that information to you. And if you are interested, again, feel free to drop a comment now, send us a Facebook message. You can always reach us by phone, 407-796-1582. You can send us an email, info@northstarsa.com, or visit our website, northstarsa.com. So we're definitely excited for these new changes. I know it's been hard on family members not being able to visit their loved ones, so we're very excited that there's starting to be some changes and can see their loved ones a little bit more now. So if you are interested, definitely reach out to us. And we appreciate the support, you coming on and visiting us or watching our live presentations. We thank you so much. We'll be here every Wednesday, and take care.